Hello everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Sachiv Kumar with us. Sachiv is a co-founder and corporate partner of SDS Advocates. He has over 13 years of rich experience. His area of practice includes banking and finance, insolvency and bankruptcy code, corporate and commercial laws, project finance, to name a few. His never giving up attitude, precise approach, giving personal and customized services, aggressive thinking, and going extra mile to deliver services in a time bound manner sets him apart from the other lawyers. So, now without further ado, let's dive into more about him. So, hi, Mr. Sachiv. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be chatting with you. And all thanks to LexTalk.
Thank you so much. And, we are equally delighted to have you here. So, now Mr. Kumar, please tell us about your journey of becoming a lawyer, your expertise area, and what would be your advice for young lawyers?
Oh, I think my journey of becoming lawyer has been very dynamic and challenging also. Like in any other field, you surpass challenges, you cross hurdles, and then you achieve something in life. But if I start about my journey was not very easy actually, because I come from a city of Bihar in Patna, where when I thought of doing law, I didn't have any books to even prepare for national law schools. So I had to run around and find out what notes I can get, what books I can get so that I can prepare. So that was the early challenges, but I think I overcome those things. I gave exam, I got admitted symbiosis. And after that, there has been no point, going back. I have had a wonderful 5 years in symbiosis. And then throughout my journey, I was very fortunate to get a first campus placement in a top-notch bank of country in ICICI, where I had a wonderful time in learning various nuances of financing. Because when I last left them, I was heading their UKT. So I had a cross-border transaction issues. I was dealing with Singapore laws, English laws, and then whatever laws and the financing like syndication you can talk about. So that's why throughout my journey, if I look back, then I think whatever has happened, whatever hiccups has come has rewarded me. Okay, because this has given me a lot of insight and how I have shaped myself. I have learned a lot with all these experiences, and I want to tell all the future lawyers that the thing is that to have a good career in law, you need to have a strong legal aptitude. You need to make a proper knowledge base. What happens nowadays that the lawyers are coming out, but they are not going in depth detail of the subject. So superficial knowledge will not work. And you need to have a sincere approach, because people are very much fickle minded right now. They just want everything in the short time. So this profession is not of a shorter duration. You need to invest time. You need to be sincere. You need to have a passion of law. Like I tell all my juniors, the newcomers, the fresher and interns, that if you want to be successful, you have to eat law, sleep law, drink law. I mean, you have to keep thinking about law. Even if I go back home and if I have not solved any query, I keep thinking in my mind. So what's the solution? What to do? So I think the younger generation has to be very, very responsible, in the sense they take law very easy, which is not. So as far as my area of expertise is concerned, I started with my banking and finance, and then I moved to a general corporate. Then I also moved to IBC. Then today I'm doing data privacy. I'm also advising on the securitization structures and the investment aspect and other areas of law. So I expanded myself.
Thank you so much for guiding us through your journey. And I assume that the young lawyers who are out there watching this do get to learn a lot from this. Uh, and now, moving forward, what sets you apart from others, and what's your most notable attribute?
See, I think if I have to ask myself, because see, every lawyer does hard work, smart work. But I believe what sets me apart from others is that my out of box thinking, and I put myself into the shoes of my client. So whenever a case comes to me, I takes it as my own thing. I go out of the way and I give them a solution which is tailor made for them, because I will not take up a matter where I know the client's stake is there. They will not get the desired result, but I'm earning my fees. So even if at the stake of my own fees, I will not give them wrong advice. That's why whichever client is come to me, they're sticking to us because they know that I will be giving them the right opinion and I will be guiding them throughout. So what happens is that clients are always with us throughout the journey. Like once they give us an assignment, then we are there with them throughout. We guide them personally. So personal and prompt, service which we give to the clients is something which sets me apart. And notable attitude is the same thing. Like when you give me a particular case, I absorb the facts. I do a lot of research. I have a thorough knowledge about pre-hand. I mean, when even before I go for a meeting with the client, I make sure that I am fully prepared. So that is something which you have to be ready, because once you go and interact with the client, nowadays every client is savvy. They know what they are up to. You can't fool them. So you need to be thoroughly prepared. So sincere approach, uh, your driving factor, like thinking about what will be the ultimate result, what you are trying to achieve, is something you have to keep in mind before you actually advise a client.
I understand, Mr. Kumar, and it's really rare to see that you actually think of your clients so deeply, and that's really wonderful. Now, please tell us about a complex legal issue that you worked on, and what's your approach of philosophy of winning or representing clients?
See, if I talk about complex legal issue, I believe there's not one, because every day we are faced with complex situations. Because nowadays a client comes to a lawyer only when something is complex. And I don't believe in doing something which is not complex. Because unless until you have to use your brain, you have to do a brainstorming, you have to find a solution to a critical problem, there's no charm of law. So I personally like to take challenging stuff, complex stuff, and then solve it. So the winning strategy is simple, that you have to think what client wants. If there's a negotiation and if something is going to stop, then we have to make a balanced approach, so that as a corporate lawyer, we can't let the business suffer. So we have to find out a solution which will be suitable to the modern practical business needs also. Because you can't say, no, you can't do this, right? So we have to find out the laws. We have to find out under the ambit of laws, four corners of law, what advice we can give them. And as I told you, that to win something, you have to be personally attached. You have to understand their matter in a manner that it is your own matter. So I make sure that when I'm dealing a particular corporate transaction with my client, then my client is feeling that yes, I am focused, and I am giving them extra time to find out a solution what they need.
That's again, that's really nice to hear. Thank you for that. So now that we are still trying to get out of the pandemic, and the pandemic saw some courts begin moving towards more remote proceedings and availability. So is this sustainable and a possible way to increase access to justice, in your opinion?
Well, see, I think we all have seen the COVID times, and frankly speaking, there were times during COVID when we were running to the courts. So courts have tried, including Supreme Court, High Court, NCLT also, to shift the hearing to virtual hearing. And it has to some extent provided a lot of remedy to the people during the COVID time when there was no physical interaction and there was social distancing being made. But the problem which we have faced, and which I think is related to the sustainability, because it will be sustainable, but like in courts, you have to file humongous documents. The documents are very huge files, so scanning those files over the system would need a very big bandwidth for the courts. Because what has happened in the past also in 2021 and recently also when we were doing virtual hearings, So we had to file online, and then also we had to go file physically the records. So again, so it was a two-way process. The hearing was happening online, but actual filing, clerks going to the courts, so it was always required. And second thing is that when you talk about these virtual hearing, and if you see the Supreme Court guidelines which came, how you have to conduct virtual hearing, how you have to do cross-examination of witnesses, how you have to hear the other side. So there are detailed guidelines which say that the other side, maybe some accused in a criminal case, he has to have a proper network. He needs to be sitting remotely in front of a laptop. The server has to be secure server. So these things are something which are not available to all the common man. And when you're doing a proper hearing, then you have a huge file, then you are referring to the acts, bare acts, you're referring to books, you're referring to different affidavits. So posing those things online on the screen becomes a lot of difficult task for judges also, because we have to keep referring to the page numbers, to this provision of act, to that provision of act. So then judges will have to be ready with all the e-books, all the judgments online, and then the case files and a particular affidavit. So it will be sustainable, and it has given justice, because in certain cases, courts were hearing the matter where the physical things were not required. So I think it is a kind of a sustainable mode, but a lot of technology advancement has to be done to the court. Infrastructure has to be built up in courts.
Absolutely. So there are always merits and demerits of each and everything.
Yes, yes.
So, yes, now in the era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you? And how do you cope with increasing demand for technology?
See, like every lawyer has now shifted to technology, because we can't live in isolation. And we are using, like right now, we are talking on a virtual platform. So since COVID only, we have been having all the virtual hearings, virtual conferences with the client. So we are using technologies like Zoom, Cisco WebEx, Google Team Meets, Skype, etc., etc. We are also using the tools for the purpose of saving documents online now in our firm, because we have a Google downloads, the iCloud servers, where we keep our standard templates, which can be easily circulated amongst our team members. And if we have to send higher files to the client, then we use those technology medium. So as far as coping up with the technology is concerned, obviously we all have to do it, because I don't know how long this kind of situation will go, but I think ultimately this is also a time saving thing, because if you are adapting to technology, you are updated to the market, because we have to keep on. And also to as a lawyer, it's not only about using the technology, we are also using and enhancing our database with respect to changing IT laws, and we are advising clients on different aspects of information technology. And the biggest thing which is going to come right now is the Data Protection Act. So we are doing a lot of research. Once the data protection bill is passed, then what is the impact it is going to have? Because whatever we do online, there is a transfer of data. So we have to protect the privacy of people, the individual data. So that we are working upon. So we are keeping ourselves updated with the technology and also technology related laws.
Yes, technology always helps, and we have actually witnessed this in the pandemic. And yeah, so it's always good to upskill yourself and regular updates. It kind of always helps.
Yes.
So now moving forward, as you all know, that time is money in any profession, and in legal is most of all. So how do you ensure to make the best use of time as a lawyer?
See, as a lawyer, the management of time is very important, because every time a matter comes to us, it's always important for a client. Everybody comes to us and they want things in a nick of time. Like today matter comes tomorrow. Any opinion has to be given maybe in a day or two. So if you have multiple matters, the only way of doing is that you have to prioritize, and you have to do multitasking at the same time. So the way I do myself is that I prioritize my work, I delegate it properly, and I also ensure that when I'm working, then I'm working consistently so that I finish that work, in advance. So I know that tomorrow it has to be given. So I will have to have some midnight oil burned. I have to work in the night because you have to somehow extend your time to meet the deadlines. That's the biggest drawback of this profession. That there's no way, if the time is short, you have to extend the time. And that only we can do by doing multitasking and working in the nights. Because all day you have a conference, you have a client meeting, then you have to manage the team, then you have to also approve the draft which has been made by your team member. So there's no way I have to always make sure that I manage my time. So I have to wake up early in the morning, read out your emails, because every mail which comes to you, there's a fee attached to it. So I can't let any of my work go and not earn. So any mail which comes as a fresh client, we have to make sure that we are reverting to them very fast with our fee code so that we get the work.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Mr. Kumar. And thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. And we will look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal world. So for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Sachiv Kumar, please like and share this video and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from the legal space. So this is Nikhil for LexTalk World signing off.